Hey! Welcome back to the channel, everyone! It's great to have you here for another exciting XRP update. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, wherever you're tuning in from, around this amazing world of ours. Market update, the real talk. Alright, let's dive straight into what's happening with XRP. Looking at our one-day chart here, we're sitting at $2.80. And yes, I know what you're thinking. Today's been a bit of a bloodbath for XRP. But here's the thing, this market is about to turn around, and I'm not just saying that. Everyone's buzzing right now saying the bottom is in. Get ready for that 5+ XRP we've all been waiting for. The bigger picture. Now check this out. When you zoom out to the 1-year chart, oh man, XRP looks absolutely incredible. We're still holding strong despite today's dip. But here's where it gets interesting. A lot of smart money is actually expecting an even deeper pullback before we absolutely blast off to the moon. Bitcoin connection. Speaking of pullbacks, look at Bitcoin. It's down under $122,000, and here's what many people don't get. When Bitcoin dips, the whole market still follows, XRP included. Eventually, XRP will break free from Bitcoin's grip. We're just not there yet, folks. But that day is coming. Expert analysis. Now, Credible Crypto just dropped some serious alpha. He says, now that we've hit new all-time highs in such an explosive way, the next leg up to $150,000 plus for Bitcoin has officially begun. He's calling for Bitcoin to rocket toward $165,000 from here. But remember, those pullbacks on the way up, they're normal. And the same thing will happen with XRP. Though here's the exciting part. XRP's pullbacks might not be as brutal because the ETF game changer. We're about to get institutional money flooding into XRP through ETFs.
Bitcoin had first mover advantage with their ETFs, but now it's XRP's turn to shine. We're finally getting that level playing field we've been waiting for. And on a level playing field, I genuinely believe XRP will eventually fully decouple from Bitcoin. But stay realistic. Expect those pullbacks along the journey. Price predictions. Here's what analysts are saying. XRP could face a 20% downside risk before that potential reversal to $5. Yeah, it might dip lower before the real breakout begins. But when that breakout starts, hold on to your seats. It's going to happen fast. People think it'll gradually climb upward. I don't think so. We're talking about massive price spikes for XRP. The big question, will it happen before the ETFs go live? That's the question everyone's asking. Smart money is positioning themselves right now, ahead of the ETFs. But once those ETFs actually launch, that's when we could see XRP absolutely explode to the upside. Current challenges. Now, the government shutdown situation has everyone a bit on edge, speculating about what comes next. It's keeping some investors on the sidelines, hesitant to jump in. That's why it's crucial for crypto that the government reopens soon. When it does, I think we'll see those ETFs fast-tracked. And then, game on. Breaking news from Ripple. But wait, there's more! Big news just dropped from Ripple. They're expanding into the Kingdom of Bahrain through a new partnership with FinTech Bay. This is huge, guys! They'll be driving blockchain adoption and education, plus supporting pilot projects across Bahrain's entire digital asset ecosystem. This isn't just random expansion. This builds on Ripple's growing dominance in the Middle East. They're positioning themselves to offer their products to institutions in Bahrain very soon. Bahrain, the blockchain pioneer. And get this! Today's announcement shows that the Kingdom of Bahrain has emerged as an early adopter of blockchain technology. They were actually one of the first jurisdictions globally to regulate crypto assets. How forward-thinking is that?
Ripple's official statement says they're excited to work with Bahrain FinTech Bay to lay the foundation for a thriving local blockchain industry. And here's the kicker. They're planning to offer their digital asset custody solution and RLUSD to Bahrain's financial institutions. This is massive expansion, folks. It gives Ripple an incredibly strong foundation in the Middle East and Africa. Remember, it's all about building those rails from one country to another. The Luxembourg connection. Now, Bitcoin Telegraph wants you to believe Luxembourg is all about Bitcoin. But let me show you what's really happening. The Luxembourg delegation literally stopped at Ripple's office in San Francisco. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's CEO, was there, sporting some stylish glasses and looking sharp. You can see it right in the photos. But the media wants you to think it's all about Bitcoin? Come on! These rails that Ripple's building, they're designed for XRP to run on them. These countries couldn't care less about Bitcoin. They know where the world is heading. The future of money. Everything's moving toward asset-backed currencies, folks. Every country wants their own currency. They're pushing away from the US dollar. That's exactly why they're stockpiling gold like crazy. Chris Larson's network effect strategy. Now, Chris Larson dropped some serious wisdom about this. He says banks are naturally cautious, but, and this is crucial, once you start connecting them, the network effect takes hold.
Yeah, we just announced that we signed up CBW out of Kansas and Cross River Bank out of New Jersey. And obviously with banks, banks are rightly careful about any new technology for regulatory purposes and for stability purposes. So, these conversations do take a while, 6 months to a year, we think, to really sort of introduce the concept and then how can it be applied and then starting talking about pilots. But we're really pleased. These are the first U.S. banks now on the Ripple protocol. So we think we are starting to get our message out there that these new technologies, distributed ledgers, really can be seen as alternatives, really viable alternatives to correspondent banking. And that's very powerful for particularly these smaller banks that otherwise have to rely on correspondent banks.
Okay. So am I right in thinking the strategy is then to get kind of a nationwide deployment of Ripple? And if so, how is that going to work? What's the strategy?
Yeah, so the strategy really is now first try to get a bank in each of the key regions of the world. Because if you can connect one bank on ACH in the US to one bank on SEPA in Europe, you have effectively connected all of the banks on those two networks. So you really get a multiplier effect. Now we have this Fedor out of Germany on SEPA, and we have now these two U.S. banks on ACH. Now we got to work on China, we got to work in South America, India, and really continue to spread it and get to some of the bank networks. So definitely getting banks as gateways to bring currencies onto the platform is very important. And then along with that, bringing market makers to make markets between those currencies, cross currencies. We've already been pretty successful there. We have about 7 institutional market makers already. Now it's really kind of filling it up with banks.
The brilliant small bank strategy. This is genius strategy, guys. He said they're going after smaller banks first. Why? Think about it. If you connect the smaller banks, you suddenly give them the power to compete with the giants. Picture this scenario. JP Morgan is sending payments over SWIFT. It's expensive, it takes forever. Now imagine a small bank that can move that same amount of money for a fraction of a penny in just seconds. Boom. That small bank suddenly has the upper hand over even the biggest banks in the world. That's the revolution we're talking about. MiCA and global expansion. With MiCA now rolled out across EU nations, countries like Luxembourg have this incredible opportunity to take global leadership in developing their digital asset industry. And notice this. Ripple always meets with the right people in the right places. They're strategic about everything. Think about it. They get something going in Luxembourg, they establish something in the United States, and boom, you've created a payment rail. That's what XRP will run on in the future, moving money daily between these countries. Before you know it, XRP is being utilized all around the world. This is how Ripple eventually replaces SWIFT. RLUSD and XRP, the perfect partnership. Now Smoke, XRP made an excellent point. XRP is poised to directly benefit from the accelerating demand for RLUSD. I know some people immediately think, well, that just benefits RLUSD, not XRP. But hold up, As RLUSD adoption accelerates, it's expected to attract new DeFi protocols, payment partners, enterprise integrations, all coming to the XRP ledger. This boosts network activity and drives sustained demand for XRP. They work together, folks. RLUSD is like the perfect door opener. Many banks are super reluctant to use a cryptocurrency directly, but RLUSD, that's their gateway drug to the XRP ecosystem.
RLUSD, the gateway drug. And here's the brilliant part of the strategy. You get banks comfortable using RLUSD first, right? Then suddenly you show them, hey, if you replace RLUSD with XRP, it's now cheaper and even faster. That's where they'll all go eventually, because XRP is the bridge currency. It's like training wheels that lead to the real deal. Fed Chair Powell doing absolutely nothing. Now, Fed Chair Jerome Powell made no comments on monetary policy or the economic outlook. Of course he didn't. This guy does nothing. You know what he does? He creates inflation and then pretends to fight it at the same time. And guess who pays for it? The American people. People are fed up, folks. It's time for major rate cuts in the United States, and he knows that rate cuts would boost the stock market and crypto. But what does he do? Nothing. Democrats stalling crypto innovation. King Valex, crypto called it. He told us the Democrats were purposely stalling crypto legislation with the Crypto Market Structure Bill. With the government shutdown, Eleanor Tourette reports there's a dust-up between Senate Democrats and Republicans over a leaked DeFi regulation proposal. Democrats are stalling bipartisan market structure talks and potentially pushing the markup date even further out. Think about this. To stop crypto innovation, they literally allowed the government to shut down. They're fighting against progress. Brian Steele fighting for clarity. But here's the good news. Brian Steele is pushing hard to pass the Clarity Act by the end of the year.
I think we still have an opportunity to get clarity across the line by the end of the year, although the focus and attention is making sure that we get the government back open. There's a lot of ongoing conversations as well about clarity and market structure on the Senate side. I'm actually continuing in conversations with some of my Senate colleagues on that topic throughout the week this week. And so I'm hopeful that as we come on the other side of the shutdown, that we have an opportunity to hit the ground running and have the Senate move forward quickly. And I think the opportunity there is to build on the success that we had in the House legislation. And if the Senate chooses to use the House text as their base text, I think what we have is an opportunity to get this bill still done, signed into law by the end of the year.
Let's hope this happens, because if they get this done by year's end, XRP is going to explode even higher during alt season. This is going to be incredible for utility-driven cryptocurrencies, more than any other crypto out there. Why? Because it tells institutions, look, this is a utility-driven cryptocurrency with real-world use cases and real demand. Meanwhile, those speculation coins, they're very risky investments. That's exactly why so many meme coins are about to disappear. The days of the Wild West in crypto are coming to an end. The escrow debate, setting the record straight. Everyone's still talking about the escrow. I don't get why people don't understand this. Fishy Catfish says, while every other protocol is trying to maximize token burns to benefit holders, you're celebrating how low your token burn is. But Bill Morgan nails it with his response. He says burning tokens to increase value is a sign of lack of value. The issuer needs to artificially create scarcity by getting rid of tokens. Think about it. Who deliberately wants to reduce something that's actually valuable? It's not even rational. And here's the truth bomb. If XRP had no value, why would Ripple keep locking XRP back into escrow? They wouldn't. They'd just leave it on the open market. People don't realize Ripple uses that escrow strategically. They want to use it for acquisitions, and every acquisition brings more utility to XRP. But like I said at the beginning, we may go even lower yet. This is the moment, folks. You either buy the dip, hold strong, and do nothing.
What you don't do is panic sell. Don't listen to all these emotional people who are overinvested and saying they're selling off XRP. They're making decisions based on fear, not facts. Look at everything we've covered today. Bahrain expansion, opening new corridors, Luxembourg connections being built, RLUSD creating the perfect on-ramp to XRP, Clarity Act potentially passing by year's end, escrow being used strategically for growth.
The fundamentals have never been stronger. While others panic, the smart money is positioning themselves for what's coming. Remember, revolutions aren't built in a day, but when they happen fast. And we're on the verge of something massive. What's your move? Are you buying this dip or holding strong? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped you see through the FUD and understand what's really happening, smash that like button. Subscribe for more no-nonsense XRP analysis and hit that bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay strong, ignore the noise, and remember, we're not just holding a cryptocurrency. We're holding the future of finance. Peace out, XRP Army.